Hi, so it's been a while since I did any sort of videos. The last one was for Ida Hobbit, so it was a bit of a sad post because that is a day where we think a lot about the things that go on for our community. And I got told off at the weekend by my daughter for not putting any more videos on my YouTube channel. So I talked to her a little bit about it and said to her, well, why don't you write down some questions you'd like me to answer and then I'll post a video. And she did that, so she completely cheated and she went online and looked for questions for YouTubers in which she wanted me to answer questions about whether I'd be playing games or which state I was in. So I called her out on that and she was pretty much busted. But then she went away and she pulled together some questions, and not only that, she asked some of her friends to give me some questions to do. So I'm going to answer some of those questions today. So I've got them on my phone here, and I'm going to answer the questions of my daughter and her friends. Now I won't say their names because I don't think that's right. So I'll refer to them just by letters. So A has got some questions for me. When did she find out she was trans? So I knew I was different when I was 6 years old. I didn't know why I was different. I knew I much preferred playing with girls. I liked the jewellery in the dressing up box. And I found it really hard to make friends because I didn't really like the stuff the boys liked. But at that age I didn't really know what it was or what was different about me. So yeah, when I was 6, but I think it was when I was 11, I really knew that I was a girl, and I told somebody I was a girl. Now that didn't go very well. So I didn't tell anyone else after I told that person. But yeah, I definitely knew at that stage that I was a girl who, unfortunately, everyone thought was a boy. Did she lose any friends or family when she told them she was trans? Yes, I think I did. I think there are a few people who found it very hard to deal with. There aren't many of us, there aren't many trans people around, so it's very difficult for people to understand what it is to be trans. There are a lot of people in the world who say things about trans people which just aren't true, which make us out to be dangerous or somehow something's very wrong with us. And I think they've struggled with that. But I have to say that the majority of people, and it's the vast majority of people, have been nothing but lovely since I came out as trans, and have rallied around me and have put their arms around me and have accepted me as Emily, that's who I am, and have supported me in my transition, which is really lovely. And I think for all those years, so I didn't come out as trans till I was 42, I'm 44 now. I think that a big reason I didn't come out earlier was because I was really worried I would lose friends and family, and I'm really glad to say that for the most part that's not been the case. So those were your questions, A. I hope they worked for you. So on to some questions from I. So question that I will be asking: what are the positives and negatives of being trans? Well, the positives of being trans... No, let's do the negatives first, then we can end on the positives. So the negatives of being trans, well, there are people in the world who say horrible things about us, and people can be very mean when you're out and about in public, and people can say some things which are quite hurtful and quite mean. And you have to learn to deal with that. You have to learn to let that wash over you and get on with your life. Being that I'm quite tall and I've got quite big feet, it's quite difficult to get clothes and shoes to fit. So clothes are okay-ish. Shoes are a real difficulty, and I do love to have nice shoes. So that's quite difficult. And because I already went through one puberty, so when I was very young, I obviously went through the same puberty as boys go through. I've had to do things like having my beard removed with lasers, the hair on my body removed. I've lost some of the hair on my head, so I have to wear a wig, which is what you can see here. So all of those things, they're painful, they can be expensive, and they take up time. But the positives of being trans, I get to be me. I get to be the real me. I get to talk to people about how good it is to be yourself and to be your true self, and that's lovely. That's a real gift. It's been very interesting spending a long part of my life with people thinking I'm a boy, and you get to see how boys and men behave when they don't think girls or women can hear them. So that's given me a big insight into how people behave and how sometimes people can be very mean. I think lots of cultures consider trans people to be very special. They consider us to have insights that other people can't have, and I think I tend to agree with that. I think that being trans allows you to recognise difference in people. I am very conscious of when people are being racist or sexist or mean about disabled people, and mean to other gay, lesbian, bisexual people as well. And it gives me a sense that I don't want to have that sort of thing happening. So being trans gives you a great insight into being a better friend, I think. And I think I'm a good friend. And I think part of that is because I'm trans. I think that's a good part of it. When did I find out I wasn't a man, and how did I feel the first few days thinking I was a girl? So that's a really good question. So I've kind of answered it a little bit already. So I knew something was wrong when I was 6. I certainly articulated it at 11, so I said it out loud when I was 11. So I've never been a man. Even though people thought I was a man and people saw me as a man or a boy, I never was one. I just got some of the wrong parts when I was born. And so for me, I've always been a girl or a woman. I've just not been able to tell anyone about it until recently. And how did I feel for the first few days when I accepted it? So I think, when I was 11, I got frightened. I got frightened by the reaction when I told somebody about myself. And so how did I feel when I decided I would not go back to pretending to be a man? I felt free. I felt that I wasn't having to hide something about myself, which that took a lot of thinking. That took a lot of, worrying that somebody would find out, worrying that what somebody would say. I don't care now what somebody says about me. I don't care what people think. I am me. I'm very proud to be me. So yeah, it was a real sense of freedom that I could be myself, and that I could talk about the things I'm interested in and not be judged for being interested in those things. So I hope that answers your questions, So these are some questions from Zed. So how did I think you would react? So Zed is my daughter. I didn't know. I felt that you would love me. I think I knew you would accept me, but I was worried. I was always frightened that you would not accept me and you would feel that I'd done something very wrong, and the thought of losing you weighed heavily on my mind. And I'm very glad to say that you were exactly as I'd hoped you would be, and you have been nothing but lovely to me, and you've loved me and I love you. And that's been the best thing in my life, if I can be honest. The best thing in my life is to know that you love me. Did I think you'd be proud? I hope you'd be proud of me. I've always hoped you'd be proud of the things I do and the person I am and the way I behave and the values I have. So I hope you are proud of me. And I will always work hard to make you proud of me and do things that make you proud of me as your parent. Do I feel loved enough? Well, Zed, that's the one thing I can always say. I've never felt anything but love from you. And yes, I do feel loved enough. And the one thing about love that I know is that it's not finite. So there's not a limit on how much love you can give or feel for somebody. And I know that every day there is more love from you, and I love you even more. So that's a wonderful thing. How did I think your friends would react? Again, I didn't know. I don't know your friends well enough. Again, I'd hope that because they're your friends and you choose your friends very carefully, that they would be kind and they would be nice and they would be supportive. And from what you've reported to me, that's exactly how it's been. And I am really proud that you've got a great group of friends, and obviously some of them asked some questions here today, which is lovely. Did I feel comfortable? I guess, did I feel comfortable being me in front of you? Absolutely. It was never in doubt. And it was a bit of an unscheduled thing when you first saw me as me, because you'd booked your head, and it never felt more normal. I'm your parent, and I'm there for you, and I'm there for you whether I'm wearing a skirt or a pair of trousers, and this is who I am. And being able to share the real me with you has been amazing and lovely. Did I feel comfortable around people at work as Emily? Yes. My work have been really lovely and very, very supportive. So I told them about myself a long time ago now. It's nearly 2 years ago. And they have all made it clear that I am Emily, that they are happy that I am Emily, they're happy that I'm me, and that I can be me with them all the time, which I think is an amazing thing. And it's given me a place where I can be myself and not worry about people judging me. So yes, very comfortable. Why did you choose the name Emily? I don't know is the honest answer. It's just my name. I decided 20 years ago or more that I needed to have a name for this person that was inside me. And Emily was just my name. And I made up all sorts of great stories, because people often ask, why is your name Emily? And I talked about Bagpuss because I loved Bagpuss when I was little. And the character in Bagpuss, who was the owner of the shop that Bagpuss lived in, was called Emily. And I always loved, at the end of that programme, the narrator would say, and Emily loved him. And I don't know, maybe that was in the back of my mind, but I've just always been Emily. That's always been who I am. Do I have anything to remind me of past times of being Emily? Well, there weren't really any big past times of being Emily, because obviously I didn't tell anyone about who I was. So I think the answer is probably no on that. I am me, and that's a reminder of who I am. And so there's nothing. I don't have any possessions that remind me of that. I've got photographs over the last 2 years that show me being more Emily than I had been before, but no, nothing I possess. How did I feel when I started my YouTube channel? Well, I didn't really start a YouTube channel. Maybe I've started it with this video. I wanted to record a video for a day called Ida Hobbit, which is the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia and Transphobia. And it was quite a sad video. You've watched it. It talks about some of the horrible things that happen to people like me, and I just needed somewhere to put it, so I put it up on YouTube. But maybe I'll do a few more of these videos. Let's see how this one plays out when I've edited it and taken out the big mistake I made in the middle, which I might have to just play some music over or something. It was just a place, but we'll see. Maybe it will work. I do struggle with my voice. I don't like my voice. My voice is very deep, and that's part of having gone through puberty as people saw me as a boy. And that makes me sad. I don't like to hear my voice, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What is my favourite colour? My favourite colour, I love pink, but that's very stereotypical, isn't it? But I do like pink as a colour, and I always did. You'll remember I had some pink shirts before that I used to love to wear. But I think I look very nice in green, so green's a nice colour. I've got a nice dress that's green. So yeah, probably pink and green. Am I proud of myself? Um, in some ways, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud that I'm able to be me now. I'm proud that I speak out on behalf of trans people, and I speak out so that people like me can see that it's okay. It's okay to be trans, and that you don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be worried. Am I proud of keeping it a secret for so long and not telling people that I love? No, I'm not proud of that. Um, I wish I'd been stronger and I'd told people earlier on. Um, but I can't live in the past, and there are things that may not have happened had I been able to do that that would make me sad to think they didn't happen. So I'm proud of the things I do now, but yeah, there are some things that I would change if I could go back. And the last question, this is the biggest question to last. Would you ever get the surgery to become a girl fully? Brackets, you don't need it. And you're right there. So nobody needs to have surgery to be a man or a woman. Now, when you're talking about the surgery, you're talking about private parts. I don't need to have the surgery, but I want to have it, and I think probably there is a bit of need in there actually, because it makes me sad that I don't have the body that I should have had when I was born. So I plan to have surgery, yes, and that will come at a point in the future. But yes, I mean, that was a very sensible question to ask, because you don't need to have it. Some people are very okay with what they have. Some people can't have surgeries. But I'm very comfortable day to day. Generally speaking, nobody looks inside what's in my underwear, as they shouldn't be looking inside your underwear or any of your friends' underwear. It's private for a reason. So, yes, at some point I will do that. It's a question you shouldn't ask a trans person straight away or in general terms. But because I'm doing this video, I'm very comfortable to answer that question. So, yes, one day I will, and that will make me feel happier. But not all people are the same. We're all different. So that was your last question. So I hope that was helpful. I say this is my first, and I'll probably be really ashamed of this video in the future because it's so unpolished. I'm sitting here at my desk at work recording it at the end of the day, so I'm probably looking really tired. I sound awful, I'm croaky, but you told me off for not doing my YouTube video, Zed. So here it is, and I hope you enjoy it, and maybe I'll do another one in the future. See you soon.